Do it good, Mom.
Hey, King, I want to start off by saying you're muted, so no one heard your intro. I was trying to give you a clue there, but you're still muted. Nope, I still can't
How
hear
about
you.
now?
Now I can hear you. Yeah.
Right. Hey, Kev,
anyway,
hold on a second. Who'd you talk to? What's going on? It's me. It's Mike Lepre and Mike L. Legit Fantasy Football brought to you by legitpodcast.com. It is October 28th, 2021. Joining me as always is the genius Kev. How are you, Kev?
Much better, King. Much better. Yeah, doing pretty good. It's funny. The slate on Sunday was kind of a tough one because the games weren't that much fun to watch. They were blowouts, but they wasn't like completely obvious to me anyway. I know you had a very good week, but I ended up pulling off a profitable Sunday because I bet heavy in game on the Rams when Detroit was up. That's one of those games, man. You got to be like always watching for that in-game stuff. Like I don't understand why the odds were changing so quickly when Detroit is doing fake punts, onside kicks. They literally went to the whole bag of tricks in the first 5 minutes, and I was able to get Detroit, LA in game -6.5. I was like, I'll bet everything I have on that one. It covered up some other mistakes. So you got to kind of watch in-game betting is the moral of the story, but doing well.
You know what? I got to tell you. So, like I said, I'm 21-4 in the last 2 weeks, but my 4 o'clock games have been complete money. 2 weeks in a row where I got them all right, and the 8 o'clock. Like that's unusual. You know what I mean? I wonder how long it'll last. You know what I mean?
That's the big question. That's the question everyone wants to know.
All right. And speaking of guys that are on fire, the Human Torch himself, Mastradamus. What's up, Matt?
I prefer Lava Man. I'm looking for a link. I got a few guys hitting me up. I usually give them legitfantasysports.com, but that's not a good link anymore. What is it?
Legitpodcast.com. See it on the bottom right?
Legitpodcast.com.
All they need to do is go to YouTube and type in Legit Fantasy Sports, and it'll bring up all our videos.
All right, give me 1 second.
Kev.
Yeah.
Shit.
Let's get into last week's games. We're running late. Kev, I lost my cell phone. I lost my car keys on separate occasions. It's not like I lost them in one shot, but like, you guys ever have a day where you're so stressed out and you're lifting? By the way, Gentleman Dave was over. Me and him carried like bureaus and all kinds of shit. But you ever have a day where you just work yourself to the point where you're physically and mentally fried and you just start to lose stuff? And then that makes you more aggravated with yourself. Yeah. And it gets worse. Because I'm like, you dumb bastard, where's your phone? And then I'm like, no one wants to help. That's the thing. No one wants to help. I'm like, can you call my phone? And they act aggravated. It's like, I need to find my phone.
That was me the last 2 days in a row. I thought I had the vid. And my biggest pet peeve, which I felt like my whole world was like ending was this morning when I was making over easy eggs, and I broke the yolk on not just one but two, and I can't tolerate it.
You know what's funny with me and eggs? I don't care how they're cooked. Like you flip them, leave them up sunny side, scramble the sons of bitches. They're eggs. I'll eat them. Just give me some toast. All right. Last week's games. The first game was on the Thursday night game, the Broncos versus the Browns. I think we all got this right. Did we not all go with the Browns?
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
Anything jump out to you, Kev? Other than Duke Johnson?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that really jumped out is that Denver is like Carolina, where they started off so hot, and some people bought into them a little bit. Now they're a disaster. What are they? 3-4, lost 4 in a row after 3-0 start. But we were always saying they didn't play anybody good in the beginning. I think now they're kind of exposed. I don't think this is something Brother Ray's been saying for a while, so I don't take credit for the whole take. But I don't think Fangio is going to be long for a head coaching job there. I don't think they have the answer at quarterback. Teddy Bridgewater is decent. I don't think the defense is as good as people think. So I think it really showed just kind of how bad Denver is. But it also showed how Case Keenum is not that bad of a quarterback. And like Cleveland's going to have some real decisions to make. Maybe I'm wanting your thoughts on this. Like, there's probably a universe where Cleveland saves $40 million and goes with Case Keenum as their quarterback next season instead of signing Baker with a ridiculous extension. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world because Baker's not worth $40 million. But anyway, those are my thoughts on that.
I think Casey's always been starting material, and he's hopped around, but he's always produced. They've showed commitment, and he actually just came out with something saying, injury or not, they're prepared to bring up the Brinks truck for him. And I don't really feel like Baker is what you think he is or what you just commented. I think he is very serviceable. He's shown, especially in the last 2 seasons, that he is good at distributing the ball. And I mean, he's had Odell, but Odell hasn't been Odell, and he's still making do. And the game against the Chargers pretty much is everything you need to see, that he went up and down the field for as many times as he needed to. And he's hampered with a serious injury that he's going to need surgery in the offseason to heal. I like Baker, and I'm not the biggest Baker fan. I haven't liked him. I didn't think he was anything special, but I've had to change my sentiment on him after I've seen what I've seen in the last 2 years. I think he's a good QB.
Yeah, and to be clear, I don't hate him. I don't think he's bad. I think if he takes a reasonable contract, it's the right thing to do. But if he thinks he's getting Dak money or Mahomes money or Rodgers money, I think Cleveland puts themselves in a bad position. That's all I'm saying.
All right, so listen. First of all, that's the link I put in the chat, Matt. You can cut and paste that. It's right there in the chat, the link to the show. Secondly, I hate Baker Mayfield. No, I do. Because he's the guy who made the comment about Daniel Jones on Daniel Jones' rookie year about being from Duke. And then he made fun of the Giants organization as a whole when Odell came over. So you guys should know this. I've hated Baker Mayfield for years now. I hate his commercials. And anybody who ever talks bad about the Giants organization deserves what they get. So I never liked Baker Mayfield, right? But this game was an easy game to call. The next game, the Panthers at the Giants. Now, I'm in Giants Stadium, right? They go up 3-0, the Panthers. There's a row of like girls with their guys that look like they're at clubs. They look like they're going clubbing, right? And they're dancing. They're dancing. Every time the Panthers have a good play, they dance. I'm getting so aggravated sitting there with my kid. I'm like, can you believe it? Like, and then you got all these like people still wearing Steve Smith jerseys and knuckleheads. There's so many Carolina fans, right? And they're going nuts when it's 3-0. When it started to turn and the Giants started to dominate, and let me tell you something, the defense was getting after them. And I'm telling you this, I saw it in person.
Please tell me you danced.
You have no idea. Daniel Jones, I'll get to that. Wait. Daniel Jones makes an extra step to get away from defenders on almost every play that not many quarterbacks could do. Like, the dude is so fast and tall. He's like, and then the one-handed catch, and you can see the team rally around them, right? You can see them like all stick together. At the end of the game, when it was over, the insult I was yelling down to the Panther fans was unbelievable. My son was like just trying to like block himself and act like he didn't know me. I'm like, why aren't you dancing now? Why aren't you dancing now? I'll play some music. I'm going boom, boom, da, 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 boom, boom, trying to get them to dance. As they're leaving, I'm calling them by their first names. If they're wearing a Steve Smith jersey, hey, Kev, if they're wearing a Steve Smith jersey, I'm going, Steve, where you going? Come on, buddy, game's not over. Kev, I rode so many people so hard, right? We're coming back from Port Authority. We're in this like small little weird tunnel. And all of a sudden I hear this older couple, middle-aged couple, maybe our age, but they look middle-aged. You know when they act and look middle-aged? And they're going, yeah, we flew up here for this one. We saw them beat the Patriots in New England. We've been making a trip about it. We might go to Dallas next year. He goes, but, I thought this was going to be a sure win. And I'm standing behind him, and I'm like, what a waste of a ticket, huh? what a wasted trip you took, huh, buddy? Huh, pal? You know what I mean, you jerk? Yeah, I get to Port Authority, and the first guy I see, right? I told you this before, I think. He's wearing just soles.
Yeah.
And they're grade taped to his feet. Like perfect circles, like where the toes would be, the middle of the foot, and then like ankle support. And he's like begging for money, and I'm like, come on, like this gimmick's no good. Get a pair of shoes. You know what I mean? If he would have said, "Could you get me some shoes?" I would have went and got him slippers at least.
Oh my God!
One of those stupid stores they have. All right, let's get back to football. Let's see. So, anyways. What did you guys think of this game by watching it at home?
I think it's kind of like Denver. I think Carolina's in kind of a bad spot. They've been trending down for a while. Everyone wants to blame it on Darnold, and Darnold hasn't looked great. I didn't look at his numbers this week. I mentioned last week's game, wide receivers had like 8 drops, but they couldn't get anything going at all on offense. Like the real question is now. What are they going to do at quarterback? Because they were openly part of the Deshaun Watson pursuit, but their owner, I think his name is Tepper, said yesterday or today that they are now out of that pursuit. So they kind of acknowledge they need I think that's kind of the acknowledgement, at least from ownership, that we're not sold on Darnold, but we're not willing to pay the price for Watson. So until they get CMC back, I think it's going to be rough. NFL's a long season. They still have defensive injuries. They still need to get. Gilmore up to speed and all that stuff. So I don't want to bury the Carolina just yet, but I probably will not be. They'll be one of my bet off teams for a little while.
Hand me off for a second. They're not going to make the playoffs. They're not going to be a team that's going to like march to the playoffs, right?
No, I don't think so.
You know what they should do? They should re-sign Cam Newton. Have the feel-good story. People will come to all the games. You'll still make money. Bang! Next season, you get a good draft pick, right? Matt, what do you think of that? Like, that's a smart move.
I don't think that's a bad idea at all. Honestly, he's a fan favorite. They love him there. He wants back in. I don't know if he's a better QB at this point in time in his career than Sam Darnold. I think Sam Darnold can actually pass the ball forward, but you know where you are. You know the team you are. You almost kind of at this point, you want to get a high draft pick to get one of the quarterbacks. I think Arch Manning is going to come out. He had a good week last week.
I don't think he can.
No, he's too young.
He's a sophomore, right?
Yeah, I think he has to go one more year, I think.
So, but Kevin hit it nail on the head. This is CMC's team. The offense has run through him. The second he went out against the Texans, they couldn't move the ball. And they've had hard time sailing ever since. It's like the win is against them. It basically goes through CMC, and that's their whole team. I think that you'd see probably a much better and more beneficial Sam Darnold if you had CMC in there. He'd probably be a little bit more relaxed. Now the pressure's on him, and he's looking very, very subpar.
Yeah. So, question for you guys. So, one of my leagues is an auction league, which is unbelievable. Like, so much fun to do an auction. I know Brother Ray's done a couple of leagues like that. I got CMC. I bid out of the $200 team cap. I think I had to go to like 68 or something to get him. Right now, I got nothing. Now he hasn't been playing for since week 3. He's been out, or week 2. He's been out, I think. So I've got nothing out of him for 5+ weeks. Probably going to be at least 8 weeks. Like, do you guys do auctions? Like it's kind of soured me on going for like one of these big money backs, like in that range. A couple of years ago, I did the same thing with what's his name, the tight end on Kittle. Ton of money on a tight end. So I'm like, that's the position I want to lock up. He got hurt for most of last year. So it's kind of caused me to reevaluate my philosophy on that. But I don't know how else to do it.
I would love to do an auction league. I've never done one, but one thing I definitely do for the seasonal fantasy leagues is I really do stay away from people who have an injury-riddled history, and it's kind of in the last few years proven true. Just like you just nailed it with Kittle and CMC. Yeah. Granted, you could think that you're getting CMC back in a few weeks, but what happened last year? He came back and he was injured again. Yeah. He has a hammy, and as I do, if he's out this long with a hammy, and then he was coming back, and then something else happened. Yeah, it's just not good with him. And there's this like they want to say that they're going to split carries and everything. We've seen it last year. They brought him back, and he was like, "Yeah, here's 60 totes in the first game." Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. They don't know how to manage. Every team has like 3 running backs, and if you're not doing that right now in this day and age, you're probably doing the disservice to your bell cow back. There really is no bell cow backs anymore.
Let me tie in my story to this, and we'll get back to the games. So I made a trade today in the Corrupted League with Stu. I got rid of Dalvin Cook, and I got Stu's 1st, 2nd, and 6th round pick. I gave him back like the 13th, 12th, and 11th of mine, whatever, on the back end. What do you think of that trade? Because I think that was good for me. I feel like he's starting to become an injury guy
all the time.
And to get a 1st and 2nd round pick and replacement of him, because I'm going nowhere. My team's like 1-6 or something like that. It's ridiculous. So I Kev, what do you think of it?
I think it's a good trade. I think you got good value for him. I think he is definitely an injury risk. That's why I have Madison. I'll never drop Madison. I'll hold on to him forever because when he goes in, he's just as valuable as Cook, which is a crazy thing to say. But look at Madison's stats when he plays full games. So you got a lot of value for a guy that's number 1, not irreplaceable. Number 2, injury prone. And what is this, like his 3rd or 4th season? I mean, the running backs don't last forever, man. So I think I like to trade for you.
Thanks. I was nervous because he's like the only guy I got that's good, but I'm like, I got to make the move. All right, over to you guys for the next game. Kev, hold on 1 second. You notice I got water in this bag. I spilled a bottle of water, and it almost hit my computer, but I wrapped it up in the bag. So I got water in a bag. I got to go water.
Well, if it was me, like I've already done, I fed my like $2,000 computer chicken broth, and computers don't eat chicken broth. So that's why I'm always doing the show on my phone. I'm not the person who's going to go out and buy another $2,000 computer because it's just going to get chicken broth on it again. So, but I will comment on the trade. I think when you're down in the gutter, like King says he was, you have to give up the what you have that has value. And to be honest with you, I got to think that Stu is on the back end of that trade. Like, why would you do that? You're giving up a lot for a guy who's never really there. So I think you worked him, and I think he it's like looking at the car. You're like, God, I'd love to drive that car. That's cool. That car drives once a year. So good luck.
But legitimately, with Stu's team, if Dalvin Cook performs, Stu's got a chance to win it. Stu's a good team. So
yeah, exactly. He's one of the few teams that could probably that is probably like Dalvin Cook away from making a big run. So
Can we talk about the legit fantasy league? Like I'm on a 4-game win streak here or something like that. Like I'm hot. They call me the lava man, and I'll tell you right now, I was like 11th place. I was all alone. No people were making fun of me, and then I just pop, started beating up everyone. It was great. It's been great. I did everything in my power to give Coach TJ a victory this weekend, and he just couldn't wake up to the task. It was crazy.
In the legit league, the issue that I'm having is I'm getting bored being in first place. Like, I think I want to be in second for like a week or two, just to see how it feels, because it's tiring. You know what I mean? Because it's ridiculous. I'm 5-2.
Who knocked you into second place? Who knocked you? Who got you out of first?
No one has. I've been in first.
But who? There was a time you were in first, then you went to second. Who gave you that loss?
Oh, you beat no. I look. I'll admit that your team that's in 5th place beat my team. But what I'm saying is, when I look at the standings, I'm still in number 1. Like, I beat Buddy's team like I said I would at the beginning of the year. He's still he's the second highest scoring. Want to talk about tragedy? Your buddy, Timmy, he's 3-4. He's 3-4, right? The amount of points that he's had scored against him is ridiculous.
I know.
He's had 1,073 points, 0.96 points scored against him. The closest other person I think is Buddy with Buddy and whatchamacallit, 1,051 and then 1,023.
Yeah, that's the tragedy. Joey Paranormal, he scored 1,003 points, and he's in 11th place. He's got the second most points and he's only behind by what, like 1,600ths of a point, and he's in 11th place.
And you want to know what's messed up, Kev?
Yeah.
If you look at the points against for my team, I'm the only team that's I'm 826.
Yeah, playing good D, King. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm playing great. Apparently, my D is playing great.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep moving, man. Hey, how do you like the set so far? The new bar.
I like it a lot. I was going to mention that. Yeah, so I think all things considered, losing your car keys and losing your phone, but being trapped in Bar Fangul, I think you're up. I think that's a net positive.
Yeah,
I can't wait to have a game here, man. I can't wait. While Gentleman Dave was here, I had a wrestling pay-per-view, and all you guys were in it. I had all these weird matches. Oh, it was great.
I absolutely loved it when King showed me one time. It was like 2 years ago.
I got it right.
He showed me raising the title. He's like, I just want you to know, M1 just won the title. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same character, right? Same thing.
Did you do that?
But what I did is I made Buddy. Oh, I made Buddy. He's like in an overalls type thing with a long beard. It's awesome. I made Joey Paranormal. I made Coach TJ. He's all in like American / British paint. All head to toe body paint. It's great. All right. Back to this.
Hold on. Speaking of wrestling, did you guys ever know that Razor Ramon killed a person?
Mm-hmm. I did.
I never knew that. I just found that out the other day.
Mm-hmm. All right. Patriots lumped up the Jets 54-13. In the last 4 weeks, last 2 weeks, this was one of my 4 losses. I always go with the Jets like an idiot. I feel like they're like a puppy dog that needs saving. So I'm always like every week I'm like, I'm gonna go with the Jets. They're gonna turn around this year. This week. They got it. And they suck. Matt, what did you think of that game?
Hey, I'm with you, King. I had the Jets with the spread too. So I can't really put too much into it because the Patriots only beat the Jets, and the Texans, and they just barely beat the Texans. I'm not going to make too much about it. Nice to see them show a little bit of life and go up and down the field, but like I said, it's against the Jets. But I never want to make excuses for winning. And King's been 21-4. Praise to the King. But it is good to see them, do what they have to do and what they did do. I don't think it's going to continue, though. I think this week they get ran over by the Chargers. But speaking of this game, Zach Wilson getting injured by Judon. I like seeing Judon. Judon has been the best off-season acquisition probably for any team. But they just they got nobody on that back end of that defense, and they need to get a few corners, younger at linebacker. And I think they, like we said a few weeks ago, they're missing Dante Scarnecchia big time.
The Jets signed Joe Flacco.
Yeah, I saw that.
They had to.
Welcome back.
Wow, he's like a stiff. I can see them put him like some sort of like stand-up coffin, and he just stands there and he waits. And then like another injury, go get Flacco. They open it up, and he's just like, you know what I mean? He's got no personality to me. All right, well, moving on. Kev, did you want to talk about that game, or you good?
No, the only thing I'll say quickly is keep an eye on Brandon Bolden. He's basically assumed the James White role. So if he's out there in your leagues, you may want to look at picking him up. He had another 7 targets, 6 receptions. I wouldn't have guessed that he was going to pick up that role. He didn't really seem to do it in previous years, but he's looked good the last couple of games, catching a lot of passes. So keep an eye on him.
All right, moving on. Chiefs, Titans. Now, Mahomes gets injured, but still, like, what's wrong with the Chiefs in general? You know what I mean? And on top of that, secondly, I'm loving me some Titans. Like they're great with the spread. They really are. You know what I mean? Every week they to me they've been on. Matt, what did you think of this game? What do you think of these teams?
One side of a parlay, I parlayed them with the Bengals. I love the Bengals over the Ravens, and I kept hearing it whisper in my ear, going, "Take the Titans on the money line." I think I even said it that they were going to win the game outright. But you still kind of fear KC, but there's nothing to fear there. And I think that the team could get down by 2 scores, 14, 17 points, and you'd still think KC has a shot. They don't have a shot anymore. I think that they're feeling the pressure. Pat Mahomes is leading the league in interceptions. This is the pressure that's falling on him, and we haven't even seen his contract start to hurt that team yet. That team's going to get worse. I don't think there's any life for them. People still like, oh, it's still early. No, it's still early for them to get lumped up some more. Like, it's not changing for them. They're getting beat. They've been in every contest. Every team's in every contest with them. Things ain't changing for them this year. It's not happening. I do love me some Titans. Yes, I got a lot of love for the Titans. They're looking good.
So, Kev, basically, right, you got the Chiefs, who are a finesse speed team, right? That's their style. And the Titans, who on defense come up the middle hard, and on offense, they've got the beast that could just keep pounding into them. Mismatch, right? Style-wise?
Well, I think you're probably giving Tennessee a little bit more credit for their defense. They don't have a great defense, which is why it shocked me that they held Kansas City to 3 points, not 23 points. It would have shocked me if they held them to 23. Forget 3. But I think that in this game, I think you got it right. That they did bring it. They did they did bring the pain. But what Tennessee did and what most teams are doing now against Kansas City is they're keeping 2 safeties back. They're like kind of saying, okay, you beat us on an 11-play drive, and for whatever reason, Andy Reid's never been that kind of a coach, and Mahomes is not that kind of a quarterback. Like they specialize in quick strike, and if you stop them from doing that, and Tennessee did a great job at that. And Tennessee doesn't have good quarterbacks, which is crazy, and they just completely shut the Chiefs down. And combine that with so you have an impatient offense that can't get anything going because they're impatient. Andy Reid looks off. Something looks wrong with him. The Chiefs as a whole look like they're exhausted. And one thing that I did hear that I hadn't even thought about. The Chiefs made it to the Super Bowl 3 times in a row. You know how many teams have made it to the Super Bowl four times in a row?
None.
1. Buffalo in the mid-90s. They lost all 4. So it's not that. Maybe what we should be saying is we should have been saying, look, they're not going to be the group that does it 4 times in a row and brings energy every time. Maybe we shouldn't be as surprised as we are. But I kind of, if you go back and listen to these podcasts, I've been saying for a long time, Chiefs offense is predictable. They have two weapons, on and on. But Matt M1 and I did a good conversation with Pat Mahomes' contract on the Sunday show. Like that team's in trouble, and I don't know how they get out of it. And that's the scary part. So the Chiefs are officially now on my bet off list. I'm not touching them. But congratulations to Tennessee on the other side. But you are right. They took the lead passing, and then they just ran it down their throat in the second half. And they were up 27-0 at the half, and they won 27-3, and they just ran the clock out on Kansas City. It was fun to watch.
Speaking of Andy Reid, Kevin,
yeah.
Should he have called it quits 2 years ago and dealt with family matters from his son to his health? And he's got a lot of wins under his belt, and he's very selfish, thinking about continuously coaching. Yeah. But maybe he should just be forced to hang it up and call it a day, call it a career. You did great, offensive mind, but
yeah. And I said it a long time ago when they got Mahomes. I was like, Mahomes is the only guy that can deliver a Super Bowl to Andy Reid, because he was passing like 65% of the time 10 years ago. He was ahead of that whole trend. He never had a great he very rarely had a great defense. And they were always a finesse team, and Mahomes came along at just the right time. And he was never a good in-game coach when it came to timeouts and clock management. And he had lightning in the bottle. He could have got that win, rode off into the sunset. Everyone was happy when they won that championship. Like Fred was like, I never liked Andy Reid. He's not my style. He's not my style. I never liked him as a coach. But even I was like, cool. He got his. He can leave now. Instead, like you said, a very good point. He stuck around for his own reasons, and more issues with his sons. His sons have had a ton of issues in the past, more issues, and look at them now. Like supposedly the energy in that building, from if you read beat writer reports and everything, is like through the floor. Like I don't think they think they can win anymore with the way they're built.
I know.
Guys, moving on to the next game, it was the football team. Who's got me like I sound all right. The Washington Inboxes played the Green Bay Packers. Packers won 24-10. Anybody shocked at all with this?
No. The only thing I'll say that surprised me, and I didn't know about this until today, is that Washington did not punt a single time in that game, which tells you a lot. It tells you a lot about good defense that's going against Arizona tonight. Green Bay couldn't force one punt out of Washington, and all I'm thinking is curse words, so I won't say anything. That quarterback, Tyler Heineke, he goes into a slide on the half-yard line and thinks he has a touchdown, goes into a slide. No one was even near him. And I think you were closer to you're closer to him right now than the Packers were. Goes into a slide, doesn't get the touchdown. I had Washington plus 9.5, would have covered, and he blew the freaking cover because he didn't just run into the end zone and then start his stupid slide. So I'm done with the inboxes too. But I think that the fact that they couldn't even force one punt is something to know going into tonight. All right, so King looks like King has left the bar. And we'll move it along quick. So we're probably talking too much about these games. Who's next on the slate? Is he back?
Let's talk about the Bengals and the Ravens.
Yeah, do it up. 41-17.
I called that. I said that this was a letdown spot for the Ravens. They blew their load against the Chargers the week before, and I was speaking on Cincinnati coming in and showing who's boss in the NFC North and AFC North. And boy, oh boy, did they ever! They pushed them around, and they were up and then tied, up and then tied, but they kept answering every time. And then the Ravens just laid down like dirty dogs, and the Bengals stopped them. It was a good, entertaining game. I was on like I said, I was on that parlay, and I swear to God, that was the most calmest parlay I think I've ever been part of, where it was just like, oh, this is great.
I'll tell you. So, oddly enough, the two games that I got wrong this week was I went with the Washington football team. I have no idea why, and the Jets. So those are my two. That was my two drops. With the Ravens and Bengals, I was saying they're going to blow that. Like the Bengals are going to score points on the Ravens. It's going to be a different story than how the Ravens played last week, and that's what happened. The other game, Kev, really. Oh, by the way, what's his name? Chase. What's the guy?
Yeah, Chase.
How good is he?
I know.
Unbelievable.
That's That's the only thing I was going to bring up. 201 yards receiving, basically against Marlon Humphreys. I won't say every single play was against him, but Humphreys got freaking torched by Chase. Yeah, that was amazing to watch. Like he went from everyone thinking he was going to be a bust because he had all those drops in preseason. He said this stupid stuff about not being able to see the ball because it didn't have like the lines painted on it. And maybe he was just gassing all of us up because he hits the NFL and he's going to set all kinds of rookie records.
And now we know why Burrow forced their hand to make that trade to get him. And speaking of sneaky fantasy plays, he's a boomer bust tight end, but Uzma is being left all alone in that offense, and he's going to be a target, and it's going to continue to be soaked up. Yeah. If you don't have a tight end, go pick him up. You got a tight end with him.
Yeah, and the funny thing with him, that one is like he's being left alone. And he's scoring like he's not doing like 8 yards, 5 yards, 7 yards. He's scoring 55-yard touchdowns because he's athletic too. And he's that's a good, very good call. Someone to keep an eye on.
So wait, who are we just talking about?
Uzma.
CJ Uzma.
All right, because on that same note, the other game that was around that time was the Falcons-Dolphins. The Falcons, Pitts is finally starting to look like how he's supposed to look, right? Like that kid's another one who's like phenomenal. Kev?
Yeah. The thing with him that they finally started doing is they're moving him all over the formation. Like, and I don't know, obviously Arthur Smith knows a ton more about football than we do. Maybe his plan was to ease him in slow or whatever, but they were kind of predictable with what they were doing with him in the beginning. Now he's all over the place. He's in the slot. He's out wide. He's halfway between out wide and the slot. And, like, getting mismatches all over the field. And we've all said the guy's a beast. So he's going to be phenomenal to watch. Okay, I know you got him as a first pick in the corrupted draft. That was probably looking a little bit shaky in the very beginning, but I think now you're seeing, what he's going to be. That he was probably the only reason to watch that game. Everything else was not much worth tuning into.
No, Matt, what do you think?
I'm being made fun of right now by the chat room. And yeah, you're right. Sometimes I bet with my heart and it's emotional, but it always comes back to burn me. That hurt. I don't know why I took the Jets either. They're the worst team in the world. What game were we just talking about? Because
Falcons, Dolphins.
That game snuck up on me because I had the Falcons given like 2.5 or 3.5, and all of a sudden Miami comes back and covers the spread. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Whoa! Yeah. Why? Oh God, I hate you.
I bet that game at 1.5.
Oh. So you did Miami minus 1.5?
No, I had the
Falcons plus.
Yep.
Okay, cool. The thing that's
speaking of lines, we were talking about this, me and Kevin, before the show started. We always talk about if you like a game early in the week.
That's what I did.
Yeah. Well, dude. Right now, you could have Arizona given just 3 points instead of giving 6.5, and I got heavy money on tonight's game with the Cardinals. But if you like a team, look at the game before 7 days in advance. Oh no. And then go ahead and grab them when you can, because 3.5 points on that spread is huge.
Kev, let me break something down really quick with you. Tell me if you agree with me. When I look at games now, first I look at the teams and I think who's the better team. Then I think who has the most playmakers. Then I think, how did they do last week? Then I literally try to think about what style are they? Like if they were a boxer, what type of boxer would they be, right? And I keep breaking it down, and when I'm done like comparing them in all those different ways, that's how I know. Like, is that how you do it too? You break them down like that?
Yeah, exactly. And then the other things you probably do it, but you just didn't bring it up. You got to look at injuries, obviously, especially cluster injuries. Like offensive line is huge there. Linebackers, defensive backfield is huge there. Then obviously you kind of want to look, like you said, the styles, like tendencies, what formations do they use, how much do they pass. That's obviously all the style stuff. And then the last thing I always try to look at as a coach is, like let's just say, and this is the Belichick, this is the Patriots kind of thing. That's why they've covered at a rate way above expectation for 20 years, because they have Belichick, and he's a premium. So if you're watching, if Jacksonville is slightly better than New England in every category, but you knew that Belichick was coaching as Urban Meyer, you're probably still gonna go with the Patriots. So there's always that kind of coaching angle on top of it. So pretty much do it the same way. But I do a lot of analytics, and like for the tendencies for me, a lot of it's like mathematical and stuff.
All right, so jumping over to the Lions Rams.
Sorry, can we say one? I want to say one quick thing on Miami. And I wish Brother Ray was here. Tua threw for 4 touchdown passes, and
they want to get rid of it.
All you hear about is Deshaun Watson to Miami. And like I feel like I never liked Tua as a talent, not as a person. I don't know anything about him as a person. As a player, I didn't think he was. I thought he was drafted too high, all that stuff. But man, I hate. It's like what happened with Wentz last year. You're going to work every day, and every single day, all they're doing is talking about the guy they want to replace you. I don't understand that. I feel bad for the guy.
I want to know, what did he do?
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now.
What did he really do to get in the doghouse like he is? Throwing 4 touchdowns. They're still talking about getting rid of him. What did he do? Like, did he sleep with somebody? What did he do?
King, he might have thrown those 4 touchdowns because he's got the pressure on that they are in talks. And they're probably right up front with him going, listen, if we can get Deshaun, we're getting him. And that is probably the best thing you could do, to whisper in his ears going, I'm looking at that man over there. He's handsome. And you're like, what? What about me? But the thing is maybe that pushed him, just like Jimmy pushing Brady, and then, Trevor Lance. Well, Trevor Lance ain't pushing Jimmy to do anything, but you know what I'm saying? Like, there's always something to motivate players. This is a very fast league. And I think that they're seeing Trevor in practice all the time. And not for nothing, that game that he played against New England up here where they won, he showed me, and I was on the Tua train. I really wanted to see Miami do well for Brother Ray and his purposes, but there was a lot of scary spots in that game where I was like, what are you doing? The pick that he threw to J.C. Jackson had no business being thrown. He made a throw across his body over the middle that he should have never threw. Bad decision making, and those you see Sean Payton with Jameis going, I told you never to be an idiot out there. Why are you being an idiot? I'm trying to make you not be an idiot, but you're an idiot. You can't be on the field for these people. They regress just like Deontay Wilder. I don't care how much you say you became a different boxer. When you're in the ring, you're going to go back to what you were and what you are. It doesn't matter. So Tua is what he is. And there was reasons that the players that played with him at Alabama were going, I'd rather be with Mac Jones. Mac Jones is a lot brighter. He's smart. He gets the defenses. I don't think Tua gets it.
Yeah, could be right.
You know what? He's always throwing an ugly ball. I said that from day one. Like, he floats a lot of balls. He literally he floats a lot of passes, and I don't get that. I don't know another quarterback that floats them the way he does. You know what I'm trying to say? Absolutely.
It's a very catchable ball for a defense.
Yeah, a good way to put it.
So, all right, let's get on to the I guess it was the 4 o'clock, yeah, because it's Lions Rams.
What a showing by the Lions.
Yeah, see, here's how I picked this one. So I was like, that spread's too high. It was too high. Like, all the 4 o'clock games, the spreads was stupidly high, right? But this was the one where I was like, the Lions, other than one time, always play teams
in the game
close. You know what I mean? So, like, they got to be closer than it. It was like, 16 and a half? Something stupid like that?
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
And you had the revenge factor. Jared Goff definitely wanted to show that he was wrong. They were wrong. But
so I went with that. I picked the Lions on that one with the spread.
Good, brave fucking call, man. Good call.
Well, I'm just saying that because my reasoning was the Lions they're 0-7, but we all can say this. Other than maybe 1 week, they're in every game within like 10 points, roughly, right?
Yeah.
They don't really get blown out. So it's like all of a sudden now the Rams are going to lump them up by 16 and a half. I didn't buy that spread. Kev?
No, I said it during the intro. I didn't bet that game before tip-off, but I bet it live. I hit it hard and basically saved my week because, like I said, Detroit running a fake punt, an onside kick, every trick play they had in the first 5 minutes of the game just to get out to a quick lead. Somehow that spread went all the way down to LA minus 6.5, and I bet a ton of cash on LA minus 6.5 and covered up some other mistakes. So it's like I said at the beginning of the show, keep an eye on some in-game opportunity, especially when a dog gets out front. That's when you want to, if nothing else has changed, you may want to consider getting back in on the favorite at a much better number.
All right, Kev, you realize just to say this, basketball's gonna end up starting late, so you might want to text Coach CJ, let him know, because we're at the 45-minute mark and it's 7:56. So,
all right, I thought we were like 5 minutes late.
Yeah, probably a little bit more than that. We gotta get up there. So let's see. Let's get on to the next game. Eagles Raiders. I don't know why everyone didn't take the Raiders on this one. I don't believe in the Eagles. I mean, they're just not a very good team. They really aren't. But Matt, what did you think of this game?
I was on the opposite side. I thought that the Eagles could run on them, and now we're actually seeing Kenneth Gainwell look very good. If there's one thing that you can say is they're starting to help out Hurts a little bit, because he's clearly not the answer so far. And boy, oh boy, did the Raiders just tune them up. I didn't think they were capable of doing that. I was clearly wrong. It looks to me like the Raiders are probably better off without Gruden, or kind of circling around the bandwagon for themselves and the team. And maybe, just maybe, it's a little addition by subtraction and they're getting a little back to the basics. But I'll tell you right now, Raiders have been a hard team to really pick this year. I picked them a few times right. I picked them a few times wrong, and they made me wrong this week, big time. So.
Yeah, well, that's a great way to put it. Like, they're one of those teams where after the fact, you're like, oh, it's so obvious why they won. But before the game, I was on the wrong side this week, and I was wrong twice. I bet Philly, whatever is plus 3.5. I teased Philly, which also lost, and I also bet Raiders under a team total 25.5. So I was wrong 3 times on that game, and like I said, that's why the in-game stuff saved me. It covered those mistakes. But again, so Philly is now the 3rd team on my bet off list. Like, I'm done betting Philly until they show me that they can be consistent. I thought because they're going to win in the trenches that they were going to keep this game close and maybe actually pull it out. Everything everyone said I agree with. The Raiders look better than ever. I hope they keep it up. I mean, we said it probably in between last season and this season. The NFL is better when the Raiders are good. It's a much more fun league, especially when they got a burner like Henry Ruggs, who's like a perfect Raiders receiver. Just throw it up there and let him run underneath it. So I hope they keep it up. Good for them. But I'm done with Philly.
I agree with you, Kevin. I thought the game would be one in the trenches. I thought they would be hurt without Waller, and they just kept trucking.
Yeah, the Eagles stink. Going over to the Cardinals now. They beat the Texans 31-5.
Woo!
Here's the thing. I don't think you have to really talk about this much. Like, the Cardinals are 7-0. The Texans went to 1-6. Yeah, this is the type of score that I expected. You know what I mean? Like, I took the Cardinals with that spread, and that was a big spread. But I was like, I actually said, I don't care if it goes to 21.
Yeah,
yes, that was my mindset, because they're gonna beat the Texans. They're gonna lump them up. Kev?
The only thing I'll say on that is, that's how you know your team is getting really good, when they can beat a bad team without a ton of drama at all. They just smoked them. They got off to a little bit of a slow start, then they focused up and they just steamrolled them, and that's what they should do to bad teams. I was afraid to bet the line, but probably my biggest bet of the week besides the in-game stuff was Arizona under team total of 33.5, and they came in. I was a little worried because they were piling up 17-point quarters. But I was, but they did hold it under that, because I was, so that's just another sort of tip. If you're afraid to hit a big line, maybe look at a team total to either bet on or fade, things like that.
It also helps though when you got a team that's maybe the best in the NFL, and then another team that's maybe the worst in the NFL. Yeah. It's just easier that way. Matt, you think?
Yeah.
It's funny you say that, King, because I'm still getting laughed at. I've been calling Arizona a Super Bowl contender since week 1. It's been recorded, and I'm still getting people going, they're not a Tampa Bay. Rams. I'm like, oh, they smacked the Rams. Tampa Bay doesn't have the defense. The Cardinals will be representing the NFC in the Super Bowl this year. I've been saying it. I would love to see who. Kevin said to me earlier, and I didn't know this, but J.J. Watt out for the year. I think they can withstand that injury, but that's going to hurt them. It's gonna make it a little bit easy to I don't know if it's easy to block Chandler Jones, but it's one less big body on that defensive side that you got to worry about. But they got so many. Like, listen, right? You got Randall Moore, Christian Kirk, DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green. Then you got James Conner coming on, Chase Edmonds. The offensive side of the ball is awesome, but their defense is great too. The Cardinals are here, folks. Stop hating on them. And tonight they're gonna do what they do against the Packers.
All right, 3 more games. Let's get through them. Bears went to Tampa Bay. Again, this is another one that was like
Tampa went to Chicago, no?
No, it was in Tampa.
Oh, that's right. Mike Evans handed the ball away.
Yeah. So, like, Kev, this is another game, though, where I was like, it could go to 21. I'm still going with the Bucs on this because the Bears, the Bears aren't right. Like, that whole organization is trying to figure out where, like, they got to get rid of their coach. You know what I mean? And they got to figure out if they're going to stick with a quarterback and what they're going to do. They're just wishy-washy. They're like Charlie Brown, the Bears. Kev.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I've been saying stuff about Matt Nagy for months and months, and I want to formally issue an apology to Ron Pace, who is in fact not the GM of the Chicago Bears. It is Ryan Pace who's the GM. So Ronnie Pace, if your life's gotten tough, if you're getting death threats from Coach DJ and the other things like that, I give you my formal apology for saying that several weeks in a row. But the Bears are in trouble, and the only bet I had on that game, I think I had one more, but the one that really disappointed me was I bet Fields over 213 yards passing, and Tampa.
I thought you had the first half. With Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I did it first half. Yeah, so that covered. Yeah, okay. But yes, exactly. So I Tampa Bay first half, which covered. But I had Fields over 213.5 passing yards, and everyone passes on Tampa Bay. Everyone. I think the three of us could probably put up a couple of passing yards. And instead, somehow they get a 100-yard rusher, and Fields does nothing downfield in the whole game, and they lose 38-3. It's like whatever is going on in Chicago, they need to like flip it. Like put the game plan together, then flip it. And then then maybe you're okay, but they're very frustrating to watch. I don't know how people do it.
That's the only bright spot. And Brother Ray was telling us about Khalil Herbert long ago, and way before he ran for 100+ on the Bucs, which only one running back last year did in the last 2 years, and he's in good company right there. That's a great call by Brother Ray.
I'm trying to look up. Hold on a second. So when the Giants traded with the Bears, this last draft, right? They let the Bears go up, and what they received was a first-round pick, a second-round pick. Like, where is the total on it? I'm trying to find the total of what they completely got from them. But
they're talking about that's a top 3, top 4 pick right there, easy.
I know we got their first-round pick, but I'm trying to figure out what the other rounds were. I think it was a first and a fourth. That's what it was. A first and a
Didn't they get multiple first?
No, I think no. They got they made a trade with another team where we got an extra second. So we have 2 firsts, 2 seconds. I think it's like 2 fourths and like 2 fifths, to be honest. So the Giants like stacking up on picks, but no, we're gonna have our draft pick. And we're going to have the Bears. So I hope they fall apart.
Oh, they already are.
You know?
Hey, just guys, so you know, I'm still here. I just have to drop the camera for a second.
I love it. I love that you became the symbol. All right, what's the next game, King?
We got 2 left. Colts went to the 49ers and smacked the Niners. Woo. As I boldly predicted, 30-18. I just like the Colts better than the Niners right now, dude. You know that something's just not right. They don't know who they are, the 49ers.
It's funny, man, because I was on the opposite side of this. I knew it was going to be a tsunami. I figured that would help the running team. Carson Wentz looked way better than Jimmy. They dealt with the same elements. Boy, oh boy, did Nyheim Hines drop a wide open touchdown, length of the field. Could have been worse. Jimmy didn't look good. The Colts are on fire. We've been talking about that. Hey.
Colts are a better team right now. They just were. You know what I mean? And they were underdogs. So, all right, next game was –
Hey, just a quick thing on that one, King. Number one, I had the under, and they somehow in a tsunami, M1 and I both lost the under. I don't get that. But one thing that's freaking hilarious is everyone, boy wonder, boy genius, Shanahan over there, he is a 41-49 overall as a head coach. He's got a winning percentage under 450. So I think he's starting to feel the heat. I don't think they're going to fire him anytime soon, but he's got to straighten his stuff out over there. But something is definitely wrong to have a record like that as a head coach and to be consistently thought of as a genius and innovator, all these other things.
One thing we can say about him is he wanted to get a QB in there. And I said it a few weeks ago. Brother Ray was like, "Oh no, Trey Lance will get his chance." I don't think Trey Lance is what we thought he was, and I think Kyle Shanahan knows that. I think he made a bad move trading up. I think that's going to come back to bite him, and I think he's kind of stuck with Jimmy right now, and he does not like Jimmy. It's a bad relationship there.
Well, I mean, you're not even giving Trey Lance a chance, though. I mean, like, he's not even given the chance to develop. Like, they're throwing him out there and they're saying that if he's not great, he stinks. Like,
well, that's where I'm going with this, King. I think that if they thought he was even close to as good as Jimmy or better, or even they would have wheeled him out there, because when they made the trade up, they already said, "See you later, Jimmy." In the back of their mind, their days were numbered with him. But I don't think that they got the quarterback to do what they wanted to do. I think it was a bad pick.
Might have been. All right. We're going to wrap up with the Saints at Seahawks.
Oh,
exactly.
So, all right. Here's what killed me on this one. On the show, I picked correctly. When I went to go place a bet, though, on the way home from New York, there was 2 NBA games I knew that was going to be a lock. It was Milwaukee, and it was crap, I can't remember who else. And then I paired them with the Seahawks to win outright because for 50 it would pay 980.
I have no problem with that. I love odds.
All right. I won the basketball games. Boom, boom. The freaking Seahawks, they can't kick a field goal. They blew 2 shots. They missed twice. I was like, I'm cursed. Like, this is happening. Like, I should never be going against my own picks. Like, I'm like, that's why I'm going to lose this.
Hold on, King. Pete Carroll, them, big time. And you got the Saints who can stop anybody running. They just kept running into brick walls. The first play of the game was an 84-yard touchdown to DK Metcalf. I know this because I was up by like 40 points in this damn fantasy league, and then I'm like winning by like 1.5, 2 points, and they didn't throw the ball to Metcalf again until like 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and they didn't throw the ball. They didn't give Geno the chance to exploit the weaknesses of the Saints. And I'm like, Pete, what's wrong with you?
But Geno got sacked twice in a row when they were in field goal range and knocked them out.
Yes, he did.
You cannot do that. Like, I'm watching that going, this is ridiculous. What a bad team. You left 6 points on the board. You left another 3 if Geno doesn't take the sack on one of those 2. Kev, what did you think? I thought it was just garbage. I should never go into myself.
I thought it was a horrible game. I was actually, I was watching it with my girlfriend, and I was like, I'm done. If you don't want to watch the rest of this game, we can watch something else. I just thought it was a very hard game to watch. Not even the Manning brothers could barely save it. I felt the game dragged them down too. But I do think Jameis is getting better. I think he's he has very few weapons on the Saints. The fact that they're looking at any kind of pro offense is really unbelievable because he has no receivers. He has no receivers at all. It's kind of nuts. And they're saying Michael Thomas is disgruntled, so who knows if he's even going to come back. But I think the Saints, I give them credit for getting wins where they should get them and kind of tweaking it out. But that was a boring, horrible game to watch. And I wish Seattle would make a lot of kind of regime change and move on from Carroll. But he's a Saint up there, so I think he leaves when he wants to leave.
All right, tonight's game. Let's get to it. What is the exact spread?
6.5, and I don't know, 50.5 for the over/under.
Yeah.
All right, who wants to go first?
I'll go first, but I think it's Arizona with the 6.5. I wouldn't be surprised if I fall flat on my face and Green Bay somehow covers and it lands on the 6. That's what I said to Kevin before the game, this show started. But I just can't see, and I was saying it earlier, the Cardinals can attack every part of the field, every part of the defense. The Packers are stunted tonight without Devontae Adams and Allen Lazard on the other side. It can't be an Aaron Jones show because the Cardinals will take that away.
Randall Cobb will be big.
It's going to be Randall Cobb. It's going to be Randall Cobb and then Robert Tonyan. But Randall Cobb is not, and if you go and you look at his card, you look at his stats, he had that one game, and that is because he was kind of left alone. He's not, he's like a Robert Woods, a gadget player. I wouldn't even go as far as saying he's a slot receiver. I would say he's kind of like if you leave him alone, he can hurt you, but he's not a number one. You can't go to Robert Tonyan or Cobb over and over and over again. It just can't win you a game. So this is going to be an inside-out game. They're going to have to use A.J. Dillon a lot tonight, and I just don't see it happen. I see the Cardinals probably win by 10 to 14 points. I like the under in this game, to be honest with you.
Kev?
Yeah, I agree with just what everything M1 said. I think last week I thought Washington was going to be able to exploit the weaknesses in Green Bay's defense, and it's in the defensive backfield, and they really didn't. You guys know how that game turned out, and I don't think Kyler Murray is going to make the same mistake. Like Kyler Murray's specialty is kind of scrambling around and then throwing a bomb behind everybody, and I think he's going to have success tonight. I bet Murray's over. I bet that he will have a completion longer than 36.5 yards. I also bet I agree with them on sort of that Green Bay is going to have trouble scoring and moving the ball, but I think they will use running backs in the passing game, so it's not going to probably be enough to win. But I bet A.J. Dillon over 9.5 yards receiving. I bet Aaron Jones over 39.5 yards receiving, stuff like that. Because I think they're going to have to involve in the passing game because they don't have a ton of other weapons. I see Arizona putting up points. I think they'll do a good job defensively. It sucks that J.J. Watt is out for the season. That's going to hurt, but I don't think it'll hurt as much as we think. So I don't have a bet on the game. If I were going to, I'm probably going to look at a few more props. Maybe look at Arizona team total over 30.5. I think I might do that. But if I had to pick the game, I'd say Cardinals laying the 6.5, and I would bet the over.
Is Chandler Jones back?
I think he is.
So
I'll check.
To wrap up, here's my issue with tonight's game. I know Aaron Rodgers is another one of those guys that lives for like Thursday night, Monday night, to showcase himself. He just does. So I can see him seeing Kyler Murray as like a challenge, like the new kid. You know what I mean? Like the guy that's 7-0. This is going to be a closer game. I think it's going to be like a 3-point win for the Cardinals. So by the spread, I'm going to take the Packers, and I'll go over. 33-30, my call.
Oof.
Yep.
I want to say this, right? If you want to take a nice prop bet, look for Zach Ertz to get 2 or more touchdowns, 2 touchdowns. I think that they're gonna showcase their new toy.
Maybe. All right, Kev. Any last words before we wrap it up? Get to the basket.
Yeah, Two quick things. One, Chandler Jones is probable, so he's going to play. And then two, King, I don't know if you want to answer these questions, but M1, I want to ask you: did you finish getting through all the fan mail you got from the Sunday show? I got kids.
No.
I got people writing in. They want to know how to spell Mastradamus because they want to name their children after you. Have you gone through your fan mail yet?
I am Sir Matteo de Mastradamus. It is MASTRADOMUS.
Yeah. My trunk. The
It's
trunk of
just
my
like
car is full.
Nostradamus, but with an M.
That's it. That's all I want to leave it with.
All right, Matt, anything you want to say?
We just got a fan mail right now. It was Chase Edmonds or Elijah Mitchell, and
I'm answering it.
okay.
Uh,
Who's San Fran playing this week?
The San Francisco Treat. Let's see. The Bears. Bears.
I like the Bears defense this week against San Fran. I think the Bears shut down San Fran. That's a tough one because Eli is definitely the bell cow there, and they like to run. James Conner's been coming on, but I like Chase tonight. He's gonna get some grabs. He'll get some grabs.
All right, guys. Kev, we got basketball coming up next, correct?
Yeah, exactly. So just a couple of minutes, we will start the live basketball show.
So, for Mastradamus, Mr. Never Left, for the genius Kev, it's me, Mike Labrie, King Mike L. This was legit fantasy basketball, football. Stay tuned for legit fantasy basketball. We